everyone. This is Lisa Haven, and I've been really delving deep in regards to the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund website. And we know this organization as a New World Order, globally minded organization that works with world leaders, or in conjunction with world leaders all across our country. And this is why I tend to keep a close eye on the website and monitor it every now and again. Well, I found some imperative information that I seriously need to warn you guys about. They have a huge announcement that just came out October 19th, yesterday, that I need to bring to the forefront. So let's just go straight to the website to that announcement. Okay, so here we are on the IMF.org website, International Monetary Fund. And keep in mind, I'm going to leave a link to this. But here is the big announcement. Notice the date, just yesterday's date on that. Leaders unite in calling for a price on carbon ahead of the Paris climate talks. Now, we know that the Paris UN Climate Change Conference is going to happen November 30th in Paris through December 11th. That's up and coming. That's just in less than a month-ish that they're going to be talking on this very topic. And what is the main topic at that conference? Well, you guessed it. Carbon taxation. That is what this is boiling down to. Let me read what they state here. It says, for the first time, an unprecedented alliance of heads of state, city and state leaders, with the supports of heads and leading companies, have joined forces to urge countries and companies around the globe to put a price on carbon. Now, it goes on to say that the call to price carbon comes from all of these, including the World Bank Group President, Jim Young Kim, and many others, including these as well. You guys can pause it and read it, but it includes our Governor Jerry Brown of California on that panel as well. But I want to read this quote from the World Bank President, Jim Young Kim, who said, there has never been a global movement to put a price on carbon at this level and with this degree of unison. It marks a turning point from the debate on the economic systems needed for low carbon growth to the implementation of policies and prices, mechanisms to deliver jobs, clean growth, and prosperity. So in other words, he's attempting to claim that if we put on some kind of carbon tax, well, then we are going to have jobs and prosperity. No, in fact, quite the opposite. No matter what country that's in, it's going to remove jobs, number one, if they put some kind of carbon tax on us. And number two, it's going to increase everyone's pay at home. We're talking higher energy, higher transportation, higher manufacturing costs in an already unstable economy. I did a report yesterday about the mass closings and mass shutdowns of malls, of strip malls, of businesses, and the like. We're seeing more and more vacant buildings, on a daily basis now. And this is something that sends off ringers for me. Take that in conjunction with them wanting to increase our electricity prices, our prices on our vehicles, our prices on gas. Well, we've got some pretty hardcore stuff there. Now check this out. This is also another website here. This is carbonpricingleadership.org. Let me fix the screen. And the first thing you're going to notice here is Chancellor Angela Merkel in Germany. Carbon prices makes investments in low carbon or carbon-free technologies attractive and assures that fossil fuels are used efficiently. Now, let me say something about Angela Merkel. She's in Germany. Germany is the place that they are now making it against the law, so to speak, to say anything against immigration or the immigrants pouring in. If you make some bad comment or whatever, or you're against it, then you can have up to 29 days in jail and a $5,000 euro fine. This is the woman that is lived there and working with that. She is not a good person in my book. Not to mention, she was also the person that was seen chatting with Facebook Mark Zuckerberg in regards to pushing an anti-immigration policy on Facebook here in America, of which Mark Zuckerberg said, yeah, okay, we're going to start doing that. But she is one of the ones leading the way on this carbon pricing leadership, which in a nutshell should tell us and go and send off a lot of ringers in and of itself. But I'm going to leave this link. There's lots of information on it here as well. But this is definitely to get the ball rolling, to start taxing you and I. And the repercussions are major. but start taxing us. Why do they want to do this? It's simple. Money, 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 money. That's what it's about. More money in their pockets. Hey, if we can create a lie, global warming, climate change, whatever, and have a solution to it, then we've created a problem, had a solution, more money in our pockets. And this is a massive tax. It's not no little deal. And they're doing it under the guise of keeping the world clean, so to speak. Now, I also found this on the worldbank.org, another push. And notice the date on this. This was just last month. Here we are, September, October, getting closer to the November meeting, taking place at the UN climate change meeting in Paris. Anyhow, new principles to help accelerate the growing global movement for carbon pricing. They want to accelerate it. They want to push it. They want to get the ball rolling. I'll leave a link here so you can check that out as well. Let's go on over to this right here. This is the Paris conference, Paris 2015 UN Climate Change Conference. They're calling COP21-CMP11. And what is this all about? Well, here's just a quick breakdown of what they're going to be doing and what they're going to be talking about and whatnot, their main issues. Let's click on that link here. But there's 40,000 participants in a total, delegates representing each country, observers, and civil society members. It is the largest diplomatic event ever hosted by France and one of the largest climate conferences ever organized. So it's on December 11th, 2015 on the Paris Le Bourgat site. But it goes on to state here, which I want to bring attention to, some of the things that they're going to aim to talk about is legally binding agreement that will enable us to combat climate change, fraud effectively, and boost the transition towards resilient, low carbon societies and economy. There's a couple times that they talk about low carbon and how they want to lower the carbon, and their suggestion to lower carbon is to increase taxes, ergo the website I showed you a moment ago. Now, they are already, and I wanted to show you this, attempting to do this under the radar, so to speak, here in America. Here we have a Washington governor now proposing a carbon tax. This was put out earlier at the beginning of this year. Not to mention what happened recently in California. This is on thedailycaller.com, but you can find it all over, and come and read these reports that I'm putting out. But the Daily Caller is a news foundation. It says California imposes global warming tax for fuel on top of gas taxes. Now, this is basically a carbon tax under the guise of a cap and trade type of program. So this is what that is in a nutshell, and their gas has gone up. I think it was 12 cents or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but get over here and read that information. Now, I wanted to say all of this to you guys, and I bring it up because they are about to get the ball rolling. This is your official heads up, because we are likely going to see in the very, very near future increases, and it could be in this slow sort of boil, which I already see because they're implementing it in California or parts of California and Washington, and we're slowly seeing states and cities and towns jump on the global warming fraud bandwagon to push these carbon taxes, or they're going to push these carbon taxes under the radar of a cap and trade system, or cap and trade, or however they do it. They're pushing it, whether they do it through some executive order or through the Supreme Court, or who knows, but the goal is to put carbon taxes on. That's what they want to do. Why? Because it brings more money in their pocket, and the second reason is because it makes us poor. Can you imagine what it would be like if your electricity bill went up right now? If you had to pay more, not just a little bit more, but a pretty chunk more. Not a massive amount, but a pretty chunk more. Not only that, but now you're taxed by the mile. Let's say you go to your job and it's 40 minutes away every day. Well, what's going to happen to people who live in small towns and drive 40 minutes a day to work, and they have to pay so much per mile in order to get to work because of that carbon tax? What's going to happen? Well, more people are going to move from the towns into the big cities. Another agenda accomplished by our government. They want to push us all in a controllable area. Carbon taxing does that. It brings those in rural areas in because they have no choice, because they have to, now they have a higher rate driving per the mile. You're paying gas, or you're paying your gas tax, or who knows what it is. And it's bringing more people closer in to the city limits. That's twofold. And the next thing that it accomplishes is, third and foremost, is we're going to also have our businesses, manufacturers also have an increase, because if they have carbon in any way, then you can bet you all our stuff that we're buying, things that are being made, everything is going to go up. That's what happens as a result. And the government, again, gets their way because they are having a poorer class and they're becoming richer off of our tax money. It's an agenda that they are attempting hardcore, an agenda that they want to push and start pushing at the France conference coming up, the United Nations climate change meeting, and they want to get the ball rolling on this. And you saw that through the IMF, through all the websites, through the world leaders calling for it, through what's happening in California and Washington and the like. Anyhow, I wanted to bring this, guys, to you, and just here's your warning, here's your heads up. This is Lisa Haven signing off.